All right, let's kick off day 2 of construction at Crowsnest. We're going to do some roadbed today. With our minimum clearances that we talked about back in the realignment where the roadbed comes in from the layout into the RTC office, we have to make sure we have no splice plates. So we're going to manufacture a couple of specific pieces of roadbed for that scenario. This is going to be the bottom level coming in, and if you look above, I've used a piece of cardboard to create a template to make sure that this fits the way I want it to. And then I've traced it onto a piece of 3/4 inch birch plywood. I'll cut that out with a jigsaw and we'll install that to kick everything off. You can see here both engineered pieces are in place. The bottom level has been glued and air stapled from the backside onto the backing board of the upper level of the helix. I'm going to work my way from the top level down. So I've got a straight section that I've measured and cut here, and I'm going to connect it to that 180-degree turn back loop that we test fit at the end of day 1. To make things easy on myself, I always pre-attach splice plates to one part of the roadbed, and I've done that here on the straight section. So I've got that clamp to that back turn back loop, and here I'm just setting in some countersink holes into the brackets, and then I'll just drive some screws in and we can measure everything up and get everything connected from the top level down to the bottom level. Because of our clearance issue that we talked about earlier, I can't use any traditional brackets that I would use just a 3/4 inch piece of plywood hanging off that tower. So I'm going to use these stiffening brackets as kind of a shelf bracket and just hang them from bottom side up. The level is there not to create a nice level surface, but to act as a straight edge. So with everything tight up against there, I'm going to drive a screw into that tower, and that's going to be our support. Before I drive that bottom screw in, I'm just going to place a piece of 1/8 inch hardboard between the roadbed and that bracket itself. And the reason for that is when I finish off the inside of the RTC office, I'm going to place probably a 20-inch wide strip of 1/8 inch hardboard, wrap it around following the contours of the roadbed, and then that's going to act as the interior wall for the RTC office and finish everything off nicely. All right, let's pop outside and finish this last radius here. This is the back side of the RTC office, the transition from single track up into the double track. The outside radius here has to be 24 inches as this sits up against the backing board for the upper level of the helix. So we're going to start off by countersinking everything and then driving 1¼ inch screws into the splice plate. The splice plate here is just another chunk of 3/4 inch plywood. It's actually an offcut from another radius, so it matches that same curve. The piece on the right here is where we're going to transition from single track to double track, and the main line is going to follow the inside curve here, as it will be the inside radius throughout the RTC office. And because I have OCD when it comes to curves and things matching up, I made sure that I started with a double track piece of radius and then cut it down from 3 inches to 1.5 inches so that there would be a nice smooth transition from the single track to the double track. I measured and cut the straight section at the same time, so I'm going to pre-install that, sand everything up, and then the entire assembly can be taken in and installed in the RTC office. We have a little gap that we have to address here before we get everything connected, so this is just another little chunk of 24-inch radius single track that we've got glued on the backside and pressed into place against the backing board of that upper helix. Because of the minimal clearance, we're going to have to put a little splice plate in, but we're just going to use 1/8 inch hardboard scraps that we have laying around, and we're going to clamp everything together. Once everything's clamped, I'm going to take and drive some air staples into the backside through that backing board, and then a couple of screws. That's going to hold everything nice and tight. With that piece set in place, we can get that last chunk put in and we'll have our loop complete. You can see here that everything is clamped together, clamped to the backing board, the splice plates are clamped in, and I've driven screws and air staples in from the back side. Alright, we've given the glue time to set, time to pull some clamps, clean the track real quick, and we'll run a clearance train up the hill, see how everything looks. From the base of the roadbed to the top of the upper can on these cars is about 1 9/16 inches. We've got 1 7/8 inches, so we're loving life. With our internal roadbed all complete here and sanded, ready for track, the rest of day 2 was spent pulling out the remaining track and roadbed from the siding at Crowsnest. Day 3, we're going to lay all the track inside the RTC office here, and we're going to build and install a spring switch at West Crowsnest. So we'll see you on day 3. If you like the video, feel free to hit that like button. Thanks for watching. See you next time.